Hey! What is going on? Is this Shaggy?
Of course it's Mr. Boombastic.
But it's not the original version. It's like a remix of Mr. Boombastic.
No, this is Keeping It Real.
This is what now?
This is
you're saying okay. It's not his song, Mr. Boombastic.
No, this is Keeping It Real by Shaggy.
Okay. I listen to a lot of Shaggy. Well, happy NASCAR Day, all you beautiful radio listeners. Thank you for dropping in our little happy hour. We appreciate you listening. If you're watching us on YouTube, here is a hand gesture just for you. You're welcome. YouTubers, feel free to hit us up on the chat. If you're listening on the radio through 105.1 FM, 1080 AM, you're online at 1051thefan.com, Odyssey.com, the Odyssey app, or you ask your smart speaker to play anything but Don't Stop Believin', and this is what you got. Use the fan text line. It's 503-2GO-FAN. That's 503-864-6326. Use it. Use the text or the chat to share your thoughts, ask questions, solicit advice, or answer me this, dear listeners. If you could have lunch with any two famous people, who would it be? Lowercase. They have to be alive right now. Two famous people. Who would you have lunch with, and how much would you pay for that opportunity?
It depends on, I guess, the vibe of the lunch. Because I would want to have a lunch with comedians. I would think Dave Chappelle, probably Jon Stewart.
Okay. All right. That's a pretty good pick. But would you want a little contrast?
I think so.
Would you mix it up? Because I kind of started thinking the same way.
That's a really good question.
Well,
because you don't want to pigeonhole yourself and have the conversation be completely about one thing. You want a little variety.
I was thinking from a storytelling aspect. Because if you're going, obviously it'd be ideal if you hit it off with these guys and you got to become friends with them or something. That's probably not going to happen. So just sitting back and listening to their stories. But I'd want two people that are different enough to see how they play off of each other. And then I started thinking, I was like, because, I don't know if you saw, and I didn't watch the episode, but do you see that Jack Black hosted SNL? And did you see who his musical guest was?
No, I didn't see who his musical guest was.
It was Jack Black and Jack White. And I was like, how cool, to be there that day would have been awesome. Those are, two of my favorites, right? But I feel like they are contemporaries. They probably sit down and get along just great. So then I started combing through my brain. There's two guys that I thought of, and I've read both of their books, and I've been a fan of one my entire life, and the other one is kind of the soundtrack, but the way that he tells stories is he's one of the most inclusive rock artists when it comes to he'll hang out with anybody. So I think who I settled on was Steve Martin. Doesn't have a ton of time left, but I wore out his stand-up albums. Steve Martin got to be the biggest stand-up comic in the world and then quit to become a movie star.
The Eddie route.
And then he became one of the biggest movie stars, and then they decided they were done with Steve Martin, and he just disappeared. And then he started doing TV successfully. Then he went back to movies. But he's been through everything. He was a magician when he was growing up. His story is kind of crazy. He didn't have kids until he was in his late 60s or 70s.
What was his first television performance? He went out there and did a bunch of juggling.
Well, he was a writer on the Smothers Brothers, and he got the writing job. He showed up to the audition to meet the actual Smothers Brothers, completely froze, and used all of the jokes of his roommate, who was also a comedian, and that's how he got the job. And then, yes, he was a juggler and a performer and a magician and all that, but then he kind of figured out the formula, and he became this giant international touring, but he's done everything. So Steve Martin has always been one of my favorites, but that guy has lived a life, and he's probably got great stories. The other guy is Dave Grohl.
That's a great one.
And Dave Grohl is one of those guys that is unflinchingly honest. And the book is good, but you could tell he wrote the book for his daughters to read. And it's a lot about his family and all of that. And it was a really good one. He's got some stories that did not make the pages of that book. Those I would very much like to hear. But he talks about nights hanging out with I'm paraphrasing, so I'll probably get the bands wrong, but like Megadeth and NSYNC in the same night. And he did not care who got to hang out with. Music is music. I don't know if you've ever seen the clip, and I know that I've shared it in the office, and we've probably played it, maybe not on this show, maybe on The Sinner and the Saint or elsewhere. But there is a clip that you can find on the internet very easily of him talking with Pharrell Williams. And Pharrell's like, oh, man, to be sitting with one of the greatest drummers of all time.
He calls himself one of the most overrated drummers of all time.
Yes. And then...
Shout out the Gap Band.
They play the clip of the Gap Band, Tony Thompson, I believe is his name, and then Smells Like Teen Spirit. It is the same. It is a disco beat behind Kurt Cobain, and then of course it's one of the greatest music videos of all time. Like it's all time like top 2 or 3. That and Thriller always make the top of lists. There was an exercise I was filling in on Primetime years and years ago, and I happened upon this article, and I wish I could remember what the albums were, but I remember having a very fun conversation with Jason Suchanek about this. Was he named his 3 albums that he would pick to introduce music to somebody. And they were nothing like you would expect. It was like jazz and the Bee Gees, or no, it was, it was the Bee Gees, but it was the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack and something else. But it was simply because there's such a wide range of music. And it might have been AC/DC or whatever. I can't remember. But it was not what you would have expected. So that guy is a very thoughtful rock star who has also lived quite the life. So could you imagine those two together? That's kind of where my brain went. I was like, Dave Grohl popped in my head first, and then I was like, who would it be fun that maybe he's never sat down with that didn't have the same path? And if I could sit back and listen to those two tell stories, that's what I got.
McCartney's still alive, so I think I would have to go with Paul.
Paul McCartney's a pretty damn good one.
Yeah, I think of it as soon as you said someone with a lot of stories, I was like, yeah.
I'm going to give one to you. Paul McCartney, Dave Chappelle. Take your two and put those together. How fun would that be? But like people from different worlds clashing together. So the thing that brings us up is that apparently an anonymous bidder paid $9 million, actually $9,100,000 to a charity to have lunch with Warren Buffett and Steph Curry. I don't know if I would go athlete.
That's a weird combination.
That's what led me to the whole question. So that's how I got there. So
yeah, I don't think I would go athlete either.
Well, athlete would be boring. Athletes to me would be one of the least entertaining.
Maybe coaches.
How'd you get so good at stuff? I don't know. I was just good at it.
I think coaches would probably be more. I think storytelling wise, I think they'd be better than having players. But
yeah,
even then,
well, especially somebody that is a player now. Like you give me, Bill Russell or somebody, or I mean, he passed away, right? I think yes. But give me somebody that lived a life long after or played in a bygone era. Like the Bill Russell story is one that pops into mind because I watched his thing recently. But I'd much rather sit down with Shaq than Wemby. I don't want to sit down with somebody that's 22 for sure.
I think I would take someone like
Charles Barkley would be a great example.
A Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes. Oh, have I told you this story?
No.
My wife sat down and shot the S with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for 45 minutes. She goes, guess who I got to talk to today? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, oh, this guy, you would know him. He's a basketball player, really tall, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar based on the description? She's like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, he fought Bruce Lee. He's in Airplane. Forget the basketball thing. Just those two things would have been cool. She sat and BS'd with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for 45 minutes, and she's like, oh, yeah, he was great to talk to. I'm like, I'm sure he was. He probably never talks to somebody that doesn't know who he is. So he could be totally relaxed. They talked for 45 minutes.
Wow.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we lived in LA, and things like that would happen to us. But it's funny because the people that you end up like, I talked with Ed Burns for almost an hour. I'm not like a huge Ed Burns fan, but it was cool to talk to him. Like I knew who he was, but I'm like, I know you're famous, and it was escaping me to figure out what it was. But that's how you end up talking to people, is when you don't give them the big like, hey, super celebrity guy, and geek out. They'll sit there and BS with you.
I'll say the most of that type of interaction I've ever had is I met Marcus Allen in an airport one time.
Yeah. Did you say hi?
Oh, it was me and him were making fun of lady who was stressing about her bags.
There you go.
Sweet.
And then you fist bumped it. See you later.
And that was it.
Yeah.
My dad goes, you know who that was? It was Marcus Allen.
Did you not know who it was?
No. I was like 13.
That's fan. See? Yeah. And the interaction, if you knew it was Marcus Allen, you go a little pee-pee, and then you go, and then you don't have the story. So there you go. All right. Speaking of cool things that you can do, June 23rd, Toyota presents Fan Golf Classic. Afternoon round is already sold out. There are, last check, less than 5. Do you got an update? For the morning round.
I think that's
most fun of day of golf, activations, tastings around the course, infamous Angels Envy Bourbon Par 3-6, where all the hosts, Dirt and Sprague, Danny and Patrick, me, and Isaac and Suk, will all be posted up to heckle or admire your shots. Of course, you'll be fed very well. Matt's Barbecue is your post-round meal, and that is awesome. Head to 1051thefan.com, click on the Fan Golf logo for information and to sign up for one of those last few morning rounds. Let's sell this thing out. It's going to be a party. It always is. Fan Golf Classic, of course, is presented by Toyota. It's brought to you by Vulcan Design and Construction, Henderson & Daughter, Windows and Doors, George McCoy at Warren Allen Attorneys at Law, Battery Exchange, Mastro Dobel, Tequila, your neighborhood restaurant group, Philbrook Law, 1-800-DIVORCE, Roto Rooter, A Legal Mezcal, and Window Nation. I was going to get into this whole schedule release. Here's the one takeaway. Dude, do I have to wait until Christmas for the Rams and the Seahawks, and then they play again 2 weeks later? It's terrible, and it's awesome. My wife is already upset at me somehow for ruining Christmas. I didn't do any of it. That's my whole breakdown of the entire 18-week schedule for all 32 teams. That's my entire breakdown. Let's do some in case. Oh, wait. I do have one other thing. The Cardinals are underdogs in all 17 of their games. There's my 2 breakdowns. Let's do some in case you missed it. In case you missed it, a New Mexico junior college sophomore named LeBron James just won the NJCAA National Championship in the javelin throw with a staggering 255-foot toss. I assume that's good.
That's ridiculous.
The Trinidad and Tobago native is named after the NBA legend, who is also fittingly his favorite athlete of all time. Also fitting is his throw of 255 feet 7 inches, more than 24 feet longer than the second place finisher. But all anyone can talk about is how his hairpiece fell off during the throw. So it's very fitting. Matches his. In case you missed it, Dodgers reliever Edwin Sugar Diaz is facing serious legal and PR trouble after being linked to an illegal cockfighting event in Puerto Rico. Diaz is dealing with immense scrutiny and potential jail time, all while recovering from elbow surgery and not living up to a $69 million contract because someone posted pictures of him at an illegal cockfighting ring on social media. Look, guys, I think you're doing your Fight Club rules wrong. The first rule of Cockfighting Club is don't forget to tag your post with hashtag illegal cockfighting. I think you're doing it wrong. You morons. In case you missed it, Deion Sanders is publicly praising his son Shedeur for maturing and surviving a chaotic rookie season, saying the QB has, quote, been through hell, but he's made it through hell. Look, Deion, unless Cleveland traded Shedeur this morning, he hasn't made it through anything. Call me when he's traded anywhere but the Jets. Until then, he's very much in the center ring of the underworld circus extravaganza.
Floating his way down the river Styx.
Amen to that, you renegade. That's actually very good. Good tag. Good job. I'm surprised when you say something funny. Is that a bad sign? And Deion Sanders apparently wants to sit down with the new Browns head coach, Todd Monken, to give him, quote, tips on how to properly coach and motivate his son. Look, I was wrong. Playing for the Browns isn't football hell, but your dad going to your boss to tell him how to handle his special little guy just might be. If this was Pee Wee football, it would be embarrassing. In high school, it would be ridiculous. But if a professional athlete has his daddy go tell the coach what flavor of fruit snacks and juicy drink he likes after the game so he play his hardest, that is officially the seventh circle of hell. That is... kill me now. If my mom came in here and goes, look, little Lukey needs to do this so he can do a good radio show to any of the bosses here, barf. In case you missed it, Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence apparently chopped off his signature locks in the team's schedule release video, leaving fans completely stunned. Not quite as stunned as Steelers fans who had to watch a barber shave the entire 17 schedule into Aaron Rodgers' back. That was a little...
The Steelers had by far the laziest schedule.
I actually didn't see it, but we're still pretending here. So not to make it worse, but I'm not sure that the Week 18 matchup against the Ravens was high enough to still be considered his back. No? Let's just hope they don't do a sequel video if they make the playoffs. Nobody wants to see where they're going to carve the championship game into. In case you missed it, the NFL is unapologetically taking over the entire calendar with games now scheduled for nearly every day of the week, including a Wednesday season opener. Since they're moving to nearly a 7-day-a-week schedule, Carrie Underwood is apparently being ordered to find a replacement for her Waiting All Day for Sunday Night intro. Personally, I can't wait to see how she manages to make the Happy Days song sexy. I am looking forward to Sunday, Monday, football day, Tuesday.
Saturday, what a day.
These days belong to... I don't know. And in case you missed it, NFL executive Hans Schroeder is out there defending the league's move to Netflix, basically telling us since these platforms already have massive user bases, you should be happy about it. Even the Justice Department and Donald Trump are weighing in, calling it sad that they're killing the golden goose by moving everything off of free TV. But let's be honest, fans just like to complain. You say it's unsafe for players to play 3 games in 10 days. You complain it's too expensive to watch them all, but you still watch and you don't care about injuries. Stop pretending you aren't getting exactly what you want. Pay-per-view gladiator fights to the death. We know that's all you really want. Thanks to our studio audience. We're going to have a comedian in here at 2:30. His name is Mason James. Looking forward to that. I think he was calling during that last segment, so I might be outside, and I'll need to let him in. But before we do that, we need to get some updates on what's going on with some Mariners injuries and returns from injury. We're going to need to talk about Tarek Skubal might be Wolverine, and we'll take a look at what else. Scheffler did something for the first time ever. I know. It's weird. We'll do that. Daily Buzz on Happy Hour. This is 105.1 The Fan.
The biggest question.
Well, thanks to being able to play the Astros, the Mariners were able to get a winning road trip for the second time in the last couple tries. They finished 4-3. They lost the series to the White Sox. They won 3 out of 4 against the Astros. But I think the good news from that is you get Bryce Miller back in the rotation, and he looked good. Touched 99 a couple times, and velocity was good. The outfield is continuing to hit. I don't know if you've seen this, but so far in May, the best outfield in Major League Baseball is the Seattle Mariners with a combined average of .305, slugging .618. And then you get Bryce Miller back, which helps your pitching, but your relief pitching might get a little help back too, because Matt Brash made a little rehab start at AAA, and what did he do? 15 pitches and 3 strikeouts in a single inning of work, made quick work of the opposition, and looks like you could be seeing him back sooner than later. So good for your Vetter Cup still champions as they go into the series with San Diego to decide the 2026 Vetter Cup. Let's go. The Buzz. Let's go to Detroit. It's been 2 weeks since Tarek Skubal had his little arm surgery. They went and pulled out loose bodies from his elbow or whatever they were doing to clean up the mess in there. He's already tossing a baseball. It's been 2 weeks. This is supposed to be a couple months. He's trying to get another Cy Young. What is he doing?
Is that a good thing that he's throwing again, or?
They said 2 to 3 months. It's been 2 weeks, and he's ready to check into baseball. His agent is old Scott Boras. He said he'll be back quicker than you expect. So here it is. I'm just giving you the heads up.
That's impressive.
Because it sounds insane. Like the last thing you want to do is more damage. But guess what? When your arm is worth $30 million a year, I doubt they're rushing him back with any chance of him getting hurt worse. So hey, modern science is a wonder worker. Remember, pitchers not all that long ago used to get dead arm. Now they're just taking tendons from wherever and strapping them onto the arm and putting you right back out there. There's guys preemptively having Tommy John surgery so they don't have to have it later. And the whole thing. It's insane.
The Buzz.
Tampa Bay Rays have reached a non-binding $2.3 billion agreement for a new stadium, this time in Tampa. So apparently, the way that I understand it, is the biggest problem with Tampa Bay Rays baseball is that their stadium is not actually in Tampa. It is in St. Petersburg, Florida, which apparently is the opposite direction of the flow of traffic. So having an evening game during the week is impossible to get to, so nobody goes, which means that it's not that the team is terrible, it's the location is so inconvenient that you can't get anybody there. This would be a multi-use stadium right in the entertainment district in the middle of Tampa. The only reason I really bring this up is they've said once that the stadium agreements are figured out in Tampa Bay and in Las Vegas, baseball will expand to 32 teams. So if this gets all figured out, I don't know if they have to finish the stadiums, but of course Portland is one of the names on the list. A few years ago, it was only a couple cities. Now there are a lot more, even in the West. But hopefully we can move and we can just decide, is Portland getting a team or not? Because I'll tell you, today's not the nicest day of the year. There was an afternoon game, and we can just bust out of here right after this show and go down there. That'd be pretty awesome. And you wouldn't have to hear me belch about, the Mariners relief pitchers and how their arms are doing in AAA Tacoma. We can go, hey, let's check AAA Beaverton or whatever and, have that conversation. It'd be a lot more fun if we were talking about a Portland baseball team. So let's cross our fingers on that whole stupid thing.
The Buzz.
Well, let's go through these quick. I did just let Mason James, the comedian that we're going to be interviewing here in a couple seconds in the building. So let's run through all of this. Isaiah Thomas is back with the Celtics. Yes, that Isaiah Thomas, who was a two-time All-Star and second-team All-NBA in 2017 for the Celtics. Not the other one that, is terrible in front office and stuff. He's going to be a scout with the Celtics, so whatever beef they had has been squashed. Miles Turner is starting a little fire with former Celtics coach Doc Rivers. Apparently no discipline whatsoever with old Rivers at the helm in Milwaukee. Giannis would show up to flights or practices whenever he felt like it. There was no fines issued. So Miles Turner, who played in the NBA Finals last year with the Pacers, not very happy with the move over to Milwaukee. And I checked this 3 times. The Score had this, so if it's inaccurate, I'm still shocking. I'm not going to do all the research. I will trust them, but I pulled up the article multiple times. Apparently, Scottie Scheffler's 3-under yesterday puts him as a co-leader for the first time in his career of a major. That to me is crazy.
That doesn't sound true.
That's what I thought.
Because I don't think he finished 3-under yesterday.
Well, I'm looking at what I'm seeing here. It's right here on the website. So unless they're drunk, Scheffler shares round 1 lead for first time ever. It's a headline.
Okay, yeah, he did shoot 67. But
also that it's his first time ever doing it. In fairness, there are 6 other guys, so 7 total that finished 3-under. Apparently very windy at Aronimink yesterday, but he's never led after the first round. How many majors does he have?
That sounds right. We'll call him Sunday Scotty for a reason.
There you go. Let's walk over to the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk and see what we missed.
I got 2 for you.
Oh, bring it on.
You want the golf or the gambling?
We just did golf. Let's go gambling.
Well, this sports update is brought to you by Big's Chicken. Try their smoked and fried wings, tossed with a perfect dry rub, and served with a trio of killer sauces. Menus at bigschicken.com. First on the fan, an ex-Abilene Christian basketball player has been banned by the NCAA for allegedly helping rig basketball games for sports bettors. We see this trend continuing all throughout sports. What is the tipping point?
I don't know, but I do love that it's Abilene Christian. It's It's a school with Christian in their title, and they're rigging basketball games. It will always continue because it's part of the world forever. People have been gambling since they figured out how to make currency, or even probably before that. I'll bet you these barley stocks versus your oxen for whatever. So as long as there has been value given to any possessions, I'm sure people have been gambling with it. Or even before that, just risk-taking in general is something we have to do. It gets our adrenaline going. It gets all exciting. Even breaking rules gets that dopamine spinning. So it won't end anytime in anyone's lifetime. I'm sure it's somehow embedded in the lizard brain that we all have. So even when we're long gone, the dinosaurs come back. It'll still be happening.
And for more sports scores and stories in 60 minutes, I'm Lowercase from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks? Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at WarrenAllen.com.
Your home for the Oregon.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another Fan Club Friday. Today we are joined by Mason James. He's already told me that his bio on the Helium website is out of date, but what is up to date is that you are doing 4 shows between tonight and tomorrow night. Tonight at 7:30, 9:45, and tomorrow night at 7:30 and 10 o'clock. So if anybody wants to get tickets to see Mason James, go to heliumcomedy.com. And if you're like, why would I get any tickets to go see this guy that I've never heard of? That's why you're here.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself. I'm not even going to use the bio. Tell people that are listening who the hell you are.
Yeah, we're just, my name's, Mason.
Very good. You're doing a great job so far.
Yeah, we like to have fun.
I can't help but notice, and I noticed this when we were talking before we got on the air, you like to say we.
Yeah, I always do that. I say that because I like to include. This is super lame, but I like to include my wife as a part of this because it's such a sacrifice on her.
Sure, good call.
Yeah.
So then she'll let you keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, we can't quit now, honey. Look how far we've gotten.
I know.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we've had enough kind of success. She goes, okay, I do like to have a little bit more money to spend, but it's just been doing stand up for like 5 years now, and been fortunate enough to have some good breaks go my way, and good enough to be in the tiny room at Helium.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
This small room, so it's super fun, and
Yeah.
now I'm jazzed to be here. I thought this was just a regular. I didn't know it was sports, so I'm excited to get into it. I wish there was better sports going on right now.
What are you talking about? We got the PGA Championship right now. The Houston Astros are terrible for the first time in a long time, and as a Seattle Mariners fan, that is really good news for me.
I pull for you guys a lot, actually.
Do you really?
Yeah,
Being
I do.
from Houston, you felt bad for how bad you kicked our ass for so long.
I don't have any hard feelings towards Seattle for some reason. But like LA, New York, Boston, I hate all of those
Sure.
people. I think as everybody does. But Seattle, I don't know why. I have a big soft spot for them, and really liked.
Well, let's be honest. They're the only team in the history of Major League Baseball not to make a World Series. Of all the 30 teams currently in Major League Baseball, there is one that has never played a World Series game,
Yeah.
and it's the Seattle Mariners. So you
Yeah.
feel bad for us. So that's nice.
Yeah. Who is our Who's the guy the catcher was
Cal
Cal
Raleigh.
Raleigh. Yeah. I love that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Loved in the World Baseball. He didn't shake the guy's hand. I thought that was great. That was amazing. Yeah, those all like I love the classic and then the hockey stuff. I feel like you get a little more patriotic during that. That was a good feeling. I liked that a lot. Feeling getting kind of aggressive on that front.
We're talking with Mason James, comedian's going to be at Helium tonight and tomorrow night in the Little Room. Have you been to Portland before?
I have not.
Okay.
No, this is an interesting city.
Okay. You came in? You did shows last night?
Yeah, we did a show last night. We were saying, me and the guy I brought to open, Luis, we feel like no one really says no in this city. People just tell you yes.
Okay.
So they go, hey, like it feels like there should be some. We've decided that people in Portland, you should have to, before you make a big decision, you should have to get approval from 4 people, and one has to be a parent. And so that's what we think. I don't know if but yeah, we're just like, all right, white lady doing dreads. Let's talk to your parents first about this. Before we do that. I saw a woman wearing a tail. I've never seen that, and I live in a pretty hip part of town.
Yeah.
And a tail.
We had a conversation about this, yesterday, Casey?
Yeah, I had a few people in high school that I went to school with that they wore tails all the time, and a few teachers had to ask them, that's not the type of tail you can wear in school.
Yeah, it was a. Yeah, and I wanted to ask about it, but then I figured if you're wearing a tail, you really would love to talk about the tail.
Yeah.
But then I go, well, I don't want to make her feel uncomfortable about the tail. But
you don't want her to be too proud of it. Like, there's 2 different directions that can go. It's like, I don't want to. Why are we talking about the tail? How dare you bring up the tail?
Sure.
Or it's, let me tell you everything about the tail, and then there's no win there.
I would have been. I don't know. I like to get into some small talk. I'll get in there. I'll talk to a stranger for too long. So I was interested in that. But yeah, I didn't do it. I didn't talk about the tail. But yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's a pretty city. It's a pretty city, but this is like
Well, you are from Houston, so
Yeah.
I mean, like, what
Yeah,
by
yeah.
comparison, what's an ugly city
I
compared to
know.
Houston?
Yeah, I don't think there is one.
Yeah, okay.
we always say that Houston. If you're dating Houston's a personality higher. Like she's got a great personality.
Yeah.
That's Houston.
Yeah, okay. a
Um,
lot of no's in Houston, I'm guessing too.
yeah.
Like, no, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know. I think whenever you like when we're from anybody from the South, or is he? From the
No,
South?
we're both from here. So yeah,
Okay.
he grew up in Portland. I grew up just on the other side of the river in Vancouver, Washington. If you
Nice.
think it's beautiful here, you should cross the Columbia.
Yeah. Is it pretty over there? Or no?
Oh, I mean, so much better than Portland. I mean, I think anybody would agree that
Okay.
listens to
They're
this
the
show.
same. They're the
Okay,
exact
exactly.
same.
There we go.
It's funny because you create these dividing lines between states,
Sure.
and now it's a big deal. No, it's the exact same place.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, when you're living in the South, you always hear like all I knew about Portland was that like I talked to my dad. He's like, "We'll watch out for like a protest." And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, I don't know if that's happening all the time.
Yeah.
But that's from the South. That's all you hear about. And then you come up to these cities, and then you see that they're normally like pretty nice.
Yeah.
And this is the first one though. I've been like, okay, I did see people doing drugs actively, and I was
Sure.
like, that is crazy. That's interesting to see.
Oh, so they were
Um,
outside of their tents then?
Yeah.
okay.
Well, we had good weather yesterday, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
they
true,
were
yeah.
they were out there getting some drugs, and but yeah, it was cool. It's cool. I like it. I like it here. I'm also realizing this hasn't been funny at all.
No. Listen, yeah.
People go, he's just gonna talk like peacefully this whole time.
Well, that's a funny thing is I was watching your stand-up. There's two things that I noticed. One is very even keel delivery, which I love, but it reminds me a little of Nate Bargatze. I don't know if you get that often.
Yeah,
Okay.
I work and I work clean as well. So
Yep.
and I'm from the South, so I think there's like some similarities there. But yeah, Nate's the man. We got to meet him the other day, so that was
nice,
that
very
was
cool.
But yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's you end up not being kind of funny elsewhere. I always tell people too. They're like, "Oh, you were like the funny guy growing up," and I was like, "Always way more funny people than me."
Yeah.
Like if I go to a bachelor party, I'm like third place easy. Like
Yeah.
there's always two guys, and I'm like, dang, they've really got it. I'll get bummed after a bachelor party. I'm like, good thing they're doing the speech, and I don't want to have that pressure. You
That's
know?
pretty funny.
So
Yeah. So, like, I mean, you've done stand up for a short while, so you're not that far removed from like those open mics. But sometimes that funny guy really struggles. Like
Sure.
the charisma can be a bit of a blocker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we've seen that. I still do open mics and everything when I'm in town. But yeah, that is like it doesn't always translate. The guy, and it's funny sometimes you see that guy that's like so. He's like jazzed up. He's like, yeah, I'm right. And you're like, well, you got to write some stuff and, kind of figured it out over a period of time. But that's kind of the beauty of it, stand-up's
Yeah.
awesome. Do
Well-
you still do it? Or?
I've done a couple shows recently. I did one at the beginning of the year, one last year. But
Nice.
no, I mean, I am now a lacrosse coach for 9-year-old
Nice.
girls. So
There
I
we
do
go.
I do that a little bit more often. But when I started doing this show daily, I was like, I need something that can connect me to comics. And so this was kind of my avenue to do that.
Fridays.
But every time I sit here and talk to somebody about this, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll just like, get a mic tonight.
Yeah. Come do a spot if you want to.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't.
All
If you got clean, I mean, some clean. It's clean, so clean
Yeah.
show. But yeah, come by. It's,
Okay, yeah.
it's pretty fun.
I'm trying to think if I have 5 clean minutes. Maybe we could do something.
I know,
Like
I've
that.
had-
I literally write for the radio show every day, so I don't know. But
I've
yeah.
talked to like 3 people and been like, yeah, come to a spot. And they're like, I don't have 5 clean. And I'm like, really? You can't just be like, I don't know, cinnamon rolls are getting bigger or something like crazy. You don't have to like, it doesn't all have to be about. Yeah.
Now
So-
it's funny. I don't know if you watch. Should tell everybody we're talking with Mason James, a comedian. If you want to see a very funny set, like I said, I've started watching some of your stuff, and it's very self-deprecating, very quick, but with that easy delivery. That was kind of where I was kind of setting up before. But I think most people listening would enjoy it very much. But what I wanted to kind of ask you about is how you get to that style, because you talked about writing. And you were telling me before we started on air that you actually started writing long before you did stand-up?
Yeah. We I just wrote stuff like at the office. I always was like wondering with jobs, like if I was like, oh, I haven't found like what I'm passionate about. Maybe you were there too. Like, oh, where's my passion? And then I did enough jobs where I was like, man, I think I might be lazy is the thing. And then, but all these jobs, I just was like trying to find an outlet of like writing. I was like, maybe do I write? Should I open a restaurant? You know, when you're a guy just like searching for something, you're like, you like go and look at the military website. Should I join the military?
I don't think I ever got that far, but yeah,
I do all the time. I still look at joining the military. It's in my act, but I'm like, this is. I mean, I'll watch a Navy SEAL movie and go, I should give this a shot. You know, I should be out there with my brothers, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it. I liked two guys I really liked, Sam Morril and Mark Normand. I really liked them, and I loved how fast their jokes were. And I was always kind of uncomfortable with silence. And I realized like if I waited a long time for a punchline, it never really was like worth it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'd rather just kind of pepper you with funny stuff, hopefully.
Yeah.
So it's not so. I don't know. There's no like, you know,
Yeah,
Chappelle talk will like for like 2 minutes or 3 minutes before he gets to like a big punch, and then it's worth it.
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
yeah, but I also think that's just a matter of like something that I was told early on that made a big impact on me is that you have to realize that the audience is as nervous as you are performing.
Yep.
Like everybody wants, there's this tension in the room.
Sure.
But if you go and see Dave Chappelle, everybody in the room knows Dave Chappelle.
Yeah,
so he gets a lot more grace in that. But I don't know if you've ever been to like a big arena comedy show.
Yeah.
Because we saw Chappelle and it was terrible.
Yeah.
Because the guy behind me just goes, "I'm rich," the entire time.
Yeah.
And he's drunk and just screaming it out. And he's getting his money's worth because he paid the same that everybody else did around it. But he's ruining the show for the entire 310, 312, and 314 sections of the Moda Center.
Yeah.
And so it's very different happening upon, because this is how I am with music. I would much rather happen upon a cool band in a small club than go out and see a legacy act.
Sure.
Like going and seeing Styx at the county fair where everybody's singing along is but going and seeing somebody that I've never heard of just play something cool. So that's kind of where I sit in with that. It's two different vibes. And you're trying to introduce yourself to people. So having that punch, because you watch some of Dave Chappelle's old stuff, it's very much like that, right?
Yeah. I also think too, like you want to get them. Some people it's a little too structured. You can kind of tell, and so that's how I feel sometimes. I feel like like you'll hear yourself. I'm getting a little bored of how structured this is. So you want it to feel like you're talking. I think, but yeah, I don't know. I thought the idea should be like be funny and be funny often, and then
it's a good way to go.
Yeah, and then
pretty simple philosophy,
and then try not to hurt anybody's feelings. So those are my like kind of things. I was like, all right, try to do that.
Well, so you're not Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
We gotta pay for this radio show somehow, so we'll take a quick break. But want to stick around for one more?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Perfect. We'll do one more for the road. We'll do it next. It's Happy Hour on 105.1 and the Fan Sports Network. we're kind of going to skip format a little bit because I'm just enjoying talking with Mason James. He's going to be at Helium tonight, 2 shows, 7:30, 9:45. Tomorrow night, 7:30 and 10. If you want to get tickets, go to heliumcomedy.com and you can check him out. We'll just call this our... We only got a couple minutes here, Mason, but kind of just I'll give you a couple minutes to kind of, you don't have to tell jokes or anything, but like tell people what the vibe will be at the show and like what you, if somebody goes, hey, what's your comedy about? There's nothing worse than somebody goes, tell me a couple jokes.
Yeah.
But I don't want that. But just make your sales pitch, your elevator pitch to anybody listening, why they should come out and support live comedy and check out what you're doing.
It's hopefully a good show. It's it's non-offensive, so you can bring your lady, your spouse, you can bring a child if you'd like. I don't know if the club will let them in, but bring a child. And then we'll hopefully make you laugh. It's a fun show. I'm a great salesman.
You're killing it.
Yeah,
You're absolutely crushing it right now.
I know. Well, I can't. You said I had a couple minutes left, and I was like, "Well, I want to stay." I've never felt cooler in my life than this right now.
Well, very cool.
I'm not joking. You guys could be like, "This is volunteer," and I'm like, "This is time of my life."
Well, it's practically volunteer. I mean, with what we get paid, but no, absolutely. Well, hey, the next time you're in Portland, we'll have you in for sure. You can do a whole show. We'll hang out. And we'll BS. It was great to get to know you for a couple minutes. I will see if we can find a babysitter for sure. So, big thanks to Mason James checking out at Helium tonight. Thanks everybody that listened. Big thank you to Casey Smith behind the glass, and of course, thank you, Isaac Ropp. We're all done for now. Bye bye.